All right, welcome back. Now, this is my first live stream. I got another computer. So this is the third computer that I've had to buy or had to purchase. Please let me know if I have any sound problems or any issues. On this stream, as you see in the thumbnail, mainly the thumbnail, I want to talk about how abuse against black boys has been normalized. It really started in the home, but the abuse of black men permeates all throughout society. Society as a whole uh, feels almost like the urge to disrespect black men nonstop every day. There's a strong motivation to not show us respect. If people are not outright disrespectful, they are very careful to not be respectful, but be respectful to others. This anti black male energy in black homes that's governed by black mothers actually exists in society as well. It goes along with everything else that I've talked about in the collective black female mind that is in line with the racism that you see in society. Uh, Basically, black mothers, they govern the same type of racism that is governed by the actual white supremacists. But because it's coming from a black person, because it's coming from a black mother, it manifests itself in different ways. It's in some ways more extreme than others. But one irrefutable way is the physical abuse of black boys, which everybody accepts and they project as normal and acceptable. And this is how black boys, black males need to be treated, need to be raised. How many of y'all remember this video right here? How could you forget this? Now you can hear her talking, right? You hear her talking? This is Akeisha. This is in Baltimore, mind you. Percentage wise, Baltimore is what? Like top 3 of the blackest cities in the United States?
You want to be staying? Take off! You want to be out here doing this dumb Get the out of here! Get over here now! Did you hear what I said? Get the Get over here!
These abusive, vile, evil Keishas abuse their sons and they think that nothing is wrong with it. That yes, this is how you are supposed to raise black boys. You verbally abuse them and physically abuse them. Now, you don't agree? Am I saying anything that's false here? Let's listen to some other black women and what they thought about how that black woman dealt with her son.
41 Action News reporter Lisa Benson talked with a group of local moms who applaud the mother's commitment to protecting her son.
Well, Cresta, the video is eye-catching. Take a look at this. You can see the mother.
People, that mother, her goal was to show out at her son's expense. Her goal was to humiliate him. Understand, he is at that age where he's developing his character and personality. This is the adolescence age, right? He's looks like he's about 14, 15. Extremely sensitive age for black males. And her goal was to continue to do what she has done his entire life, which is verbally and physically abuse him. And you notice the world fully co-signed with straight up and down abuse. Could you imagine if a black father did that to his daughter, came out there in broad daylight, whacking her across the face multiple times, talking to her like that? Do you think the world would have co-signed with that? How many of y'all think that that would have been applauded? He come whacking his daughter across the face like this woman was. Are you kidding? He would be canceled. They would rally against him. They wouldn't be talking this nonsense about how proud they are. Now, also, at the time, at the moment, the boy wasn't doing nothing. She said he had a rock in his hand, and that was it. You attacked him for having a rock in his hand? But you see, they don't know how to teach. They don't know how to communicate. The only thing they know how to do is attack, which is very strange. Whoa, whoa. Yep, now you're about to listen to these other Keishas.
I applaud that mother for that. If we have more of these mothers come out and do what she just did, yes, and say, no, it's not right, I don't care what they're doing, that will change our community.
People, I'm going to try my best to control myself and to keep my voice down and stay calm. But this right here is complete insanity. First of all, the fact that he went there against his mother's instructions, allegedly, according to the mother, that shows the mother's failure right there. How come you're not on the same page with your son? Why is it that y'all have such little control of your sons when you're the ones that raised them? You're the ones that's been communicating with them. That's the problem. You haven't been communicating with them. You don't talk to them about nothing, especially not politics. You're talking about rioting and all this stuff. You're getting political. You're not about to educate him on nothing. The only thing you're going to say is, don't go there. You yourself don't know nothing about it. So that, first of all, shows your failure. Second of all, why didn't you have more respect for your son? Why didn't you say to yourself, let me pull him off to the side and talk to him? Why didn't you consider that? Why don't y'all consider that? No, you have to yell, curse, and launch physical attacks like flipping head cases, like lunatics. Like the lunatics that you abusive Keishas are. Now let me show y'all something. Because I want y'all to know that these abusive mothers, this abuse does not produce productive black men. Let me repeat that. The way she dealt with her son, the abuse that they dish out to their sons does not help their sons. I don't care what these black men out here tell you. You did not benefit being abused by your mother. It hurt you. It made you hostile, short-tempered, violent, disconnected. It made you able to disconnect from others in a heartbeat. It damaged you socially, your social relations, how you interact with other people, the control of your own temperament impacted you in ways I can't even articulate. Benefit? No. Name the benefit. Listen to these mothers who reacted to this. Did you hear them say anything intellectual? Or did you just hear some Keisha babble?
What she just did.
Yes. This mother's response caught national attention.
I applaud that mother for that. If we have more of these mothers come out and do what she just did, yes, and say, no, it's not right, I don't care what they're doing, that will change our community.
Rosalind Temple and Lenore.
Can you just explain to him why it's not right, Big Keisha? Because y'all can't. Because you're ignorant. Y'all not that bright. Why don't we just keep it a buck? You lack the ability to explain and teach. You don't have a passion for that. You only have a passion for being abusive.
Williams applaud this mother's determination to find her son among rioters and take him home. Both women lost their sons to gun violence.
She's voicing her opinion. I'm not afraid.
Lost their sons to gun violence, huh? Let me remind people of something. I follow Chicago gang drill culture for a reason. It is to study Keisha mothers and what they produce, the best of what they produce to the worst of what they produce. And you find a pattern. You find that these abusive mothers, what they do is they create the most violent black males in the population. Pretty much every black male that you can think of who was a serial killer, who was very violent, was beaten on and abused by his mother. Oh, yes, he was. I want y'all to listen to something. He is about to give you a quick story about a friend, an old friend of his, named Lil B. See it highlighted here. Lil B. A guy he used to know named Lil B.
It was one of the guys named Ty from over there on BD and shit. Yeah, folks was TYMB and shit before Ty.
Become a little more popular throughout the. Oh, another name that I hear about a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of become a little more popular throughout the years, man. Is Little B.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a Lil B too.
You know Little B?
Yeah, he used to be my homie and shit. He used to be TYMB. Yeah, folks was TYMB and shit before Ty got killed. On B, you know, Ty is who they named TYMB out there. It was one of the guys named Ty from over there on BD and shit. He was Young Money. And that's how they became Ty and B on BD. So when he died, it was some shit going on with Lil B in that situation with that OBD. So when Ty died and shit, Lil B just became a straight op. OBD, he started finding folks, them find at us. Like Lil B just started finding. I ain't gonna lie, like he started just walking up on shit. Like
You hear what he said?
them find at us. Like Lil B. So when Ty died and shit, Lil B just became a straight op on B.
He said, when Ty died, Lil B became a straight op. Because when Ty died, it was a rumor that Lil B snitched. There was a rumor that Lil B snitched and that he, had something to do with it or whatever. But it turned out Lil B did not snitch. He did not snitch. And his old buddies found out. They found out that he really didn't snitch after they beat him up. They thought he was a snitch and they violated him. See, in these games, when you do things and you're off code like that, they beat on you. They beat you up. Beat them. Beat them. That's your violation for being off code. So they beat up, they jumped Lil B. And he became an op. You heard him say Lil B became a straight op. That means he started to target all the guys who jumped him. That's how he reacted. That's how he responded to being physically abused.
He started finding folks, them find at us. Like Lil B just started finding. I ain't gonna lie, like he started just walking up on shit. Like I ain't gonna lie, Lil B started treating niggas like he never hung with us. So I swear to God, that's why I was so crazy with Lil.
And he started treating them like he never hung with them. Listen to this.
B focused. He one of them niggas, like I say, like niggas play with him, and on my son, he started like making like nigga, you what? On Biddy, like I ain't gonna stun on Lil B, boy. He definitely like he one of them niggas, bro. He was one of us, and then once the situation with them and him that situation happened on Biddy, boy, he started acting like he had something to show.
Situation? You heard me say that? That's what he's talking about. He's referring to Lil B getting beaten up, wrongfully beaten up.
Him and him that situation happened on Biddy, boy. He started acting like he had something to show, bro. He went all the way in, like that's how you know that shit was in his heart on Biddy. You could tell what type of nigga he was.
He had something to prove. He had something to show. It seemed like he had something to prove after he got jumped by the guys.
As soon as the mother thought they was gonna come together and play with Shorty or move him around or scandalize or get on his ass, he started trying to kill him. On BD, he started popping up on niggas, full court blitz, 30 days, 30 nights. Shorty he started acting bad. I ain't gonna lie on BD. So yeah, I know Lil B for sure.
Now, this dude Lil B that they're talking about, he was killed at age 21, but he was doing all this stuff as a teenager. 16, 17, probably earlier than that. That's the typical age that these black boys become or start to catch bodies, or what they call jumping off the porch over there in Chicago. Think about that. 14, sometimes as young as 12. Right? Y'all, those of you who know that Lil Mark caught his first body at 12 years old. What in the world type of mentality what do you think a 12-year-old would have to have gone through or experienced in their life to do that and then to keep doing it? And y'all also remember King Von went through the same thing. He became a serial killer after he got jumped.
Now, when you knew him early on before he became an op, was he like could you see that in him, or was that just something that kind of came out of nowhere?
Nah, Lil B always been a little threw off. I think Lil B was slow for. I ain't gonna lie. I think he had like a little. I don't know if that's the right word, but you could just tell like certain niggas, bro, they don't really be like The reason they be how they be, folk, be because like something off about them, folk. Like, you feel me? Like he was able to go as hard as he was, folk, because he had a way about detaching himself from up, bro. Like,
He had a way of detaching itself from people. The worst among us are the serial killers. You know, sadly, is these young black boys out here catching bodies for fun, for sport, for they set, knowing that what they're doing is wrong. Obviously, that's the worst. Those are the ones who you'd most rather not live next to, right? The ones who are robbing for a living. You gotta remember, these boys, many of them, that's how they get their money. Some of them don't. This guy, Lil B, they talking about, he never sold drugs. And he did not have a real legitimate job. A whole bunch of them are like that. So how do they get money? Robbing people, gambling. So every area of their life is degenerate. That's the worst among any group, not just black Americans. Right? And what do they go through? Abuse. What do they have in common? Abuse, good old fashioned abuse by their mothers. Now, don't let nobody fool you. There are plenty of people who grow up in the hood who are not about that life, who don't catch bodies, who even scared to even throw hands. It's not a monolith. There's a bunch of different types of black men in these communities. That's because there are different degrees of abuse. That's a huge factor.
Shorty a killer that was just with him on BD. Like,
He said Shorty will kill somebody who was just with him.
way about detaching himself from up, bro. Like, Shorty a killer that was just with him on BD. Like, on BD, he'll smoke you on phone. Like, and it's a lot of niggas from his way that knew that on Steve. Like, he was one of them niggas that niggas didn't want to play with where he was from, but he was loved over there on BD because niggas did play with him, and how wild he got. He was one of the only niggas that got that wild, folk. Like, it was to a point where like Lil B was one of them niggas, folk. Like, something happened, you could tell if he did it or not by the type of way it happened. On BD, like, get shot in the foot, something, bled to death. You like, nah, that ain't Lil B. Get shot in their face 7 times, chest 3 times. You damn, was that Lil B? You damn, how he coming? On BD, you thinking like, damn, Shorty on that, he coming the right way. That's how he trying to come if he slide on BD. So, you know, it was that type of situation with Lil B. He one of them.
Did you ever run?
Casual, they talk about unaliving each other. They call it shopping. I feel so sorry for Tariq Nasheed and the fact that he never learned enough about the war in Chicago to talk about it from an educated perspective. There was a real war going on in Chicago. Those numbers were not fabricated. The stats in Chicago were not fabricated. You could tell these were genuine numbers by the culture, the gang culture in Chicago. Shopping, sliding. What? We up on check the scoreboard.
Run into him after you guys became ops?
Hell, I mean, just like indirectly, you know what I'm saying? Like,
This guy that he's talking about, he was involved in like 36 different shootings, 36 different crime reports on this guy. And he was killed at age 21. He was at a point in his life around, I think he was a teenager, maybe 20. He was shooting people every single day of the week. He would wear wigs to disguise himself as a woman just so he could get close to his ops, which were just people, other black men of other sets. just so he could get close and personal with his ops so that he could unalive them. He would hide in trash cans just so he could pop out and unalive one of his ops, another black man. Again, he was hyper focused on the ones who jumped him, but most definitely focused on the sets that jumped him and the ones that they were allied with. He would put on costumes. The guy Lil B he's talking about, he would put on costumes, wigs, and pretend to be a woman. No, excuse me. Pretend to be a bum on the street. He'll lay under a blanket. He was using military tactics. This is what I was telling y'all. How orchestrated the scene was in Chicago. That drill scene was governed by the military, man. Look at all the military lingo. The military lingo involved in Chicago in the drill culture. This young dude would pretend to be a bum, see his ops walk by just so he could come up out of blanket and flame them up. He was addicted. And what triggered it? Getting beaten on. Getting beaten on. Y'all remember King Von? After he got jumped, one of the victims that he unalived them at like 9 o'clock in the morning. He wanted to wake up early to catch him coming out, I guess, to go to school or something. This is the guy that they're talking about, Lil B, a child serial killer. And there were multiple of them. There's multiple of them in Chicago. Chicago's really one of the roughest cities, and it's the perfect city to use as a case study. Tell me where these doctors are who got their brains beaten out by their black mothers. Those boys usually end up in bad places. This old Negro slave belief that beating boys half to death, beating their brains out, don't teach them nothing. Don't talk to them like they're human beings. Save all that for the girls. Boys do something, you just beat them. And then that's it. Beat them and you're done. Don't do it again. Or right? There ain't no teaching. And these boys grow up confused. They're not only abused, they're also confused. And that's why they are so short triggered. If you check out these documentaries, you'll find out that there are several confessions of how these boys were beaten by their mothers. I remember they talked about how FBG Dutchie was beaten regularly by, come on, man. That's the culture. That hostility that they have, they exercise it beating on their sons. And the world has normalized it. When this abuse is probably the primary contributor to the fuel that these young boys have to unalive each other, to display all types of hostility towards each other. Much of that fuel and motivation comes from the fact that these boys were unusually abused by their mothers, abused by black mothers who have a hatred for blackness. Look at all the factors that intensifies their beating of their sons. You look like your father. You got that nappy Negro hair that I'm at war with, that's on my head, that I try to hide every day. You see what his mother looked like? She had a big wig on. And you got those black boys today in Chicago. They've gone lot crazy. Like a lot. I don't know who started that. I think that was Lil Wayne who started that. One of those 2000 rappers started this lock revolution of in Black America, because it was not like this in the mid 1990s. Like I said, I went to high school, went 2 solid years, went to high school with nothing but people from Chicago. Them dudes did not have locks like that. So you got this Negro hair and you look like your father, you're black, already got less respect for you. This intensified not only the physical abuse, but the verbal abuse. You heard what his mother was saying. She wasn't saying nothing deep, and she ain't never had no deep discussion with him. All she's ever done was scream, holler with her big fat wig wearing behind and be abusive. Her goal right here, she lucky he didn't turn around and sock her in the face, to be honest. And then they turn around and uh expect those boys to never lay hands on them in self-defense. And that if they do, then they'll try to kill them. They'll try to kill them dead. But they try to convince them that God will send you to hell. If you put your hands on me, I can beat you. I can beat on you all I want because I'm your mom. But if you put one hand on me in self-defense, not only am I going to try to kill you, you going to hell. God will not accept you. He will not accept you into heaven if you ever lay hands on me. So I can beat the hell out of you in front of whoever, and they do just that. You don't give no lunatic with mental illness no mindset, no train of thought like that. And you see how they don't, there's no motivation from them to be respectful to their sons, even after their sons become adults. They have no interest. In fact, they want to, they lean into never respecting them. They take pride into never talking to them like they're grown men, showing respect. They think it's something wrong with showing respect to their sons. They think there's something wrong with that. So their sons never get an example of what respect is supposed to be. Is actually is. They never get a real example of respect. They just grow up being disrespected constantly, nonstop. So if they get this same type of abuse from another black man, they're not dealing with no guilt of going to hell. They're going to attack them real fast. They're going to be quicker to attack each other. The violence you see in Black America is largely a reflection of what's going on inside the home. It has to do with the relationship with their abusive mothers and them. She ain't getting deep. What pisses me off is how Black Americans look at this as holy. Oh, thank God, there you go. Jesus is in this woman. Lordy Lord, I applaud this mother. You plantation nigglets. Goofy plantation nigglets. This is abuse. And like I said, this lady lucky he didn't turn around with a right hand. Because there have been black men who crashed out like that. I remember the last time my mother tried to physically beat me. I think I was about 12 years old. 12, 13. Around that age when you're going through puberty. I think he is around that age where he's going through puberty, but I was much bigger at that age. As a matter of fact, I think I was close to maxed out. I think I was at least 6 feet tall at that time. I'm 6'1.5" now. But she tried all that punching me and beating on me, and uh she winding up trying to tee off on me, and I'm just looking at her. No expression that I'm hurt or nothing. I'm just looking at her. But I got this look in my eye. Like, first of all, you're not hurting me. Second of all, this could change real fast if I wanted it to. And I never said a word. That was the last time she tried to put hands on me. After that, she would try to sick her boyfriends, I guess, or husbands, or call the cops. That's what they try to do when they can no longer beat on you like this woman is. Oh yeah, let's talk about abused black boys for a minute. Let's have a conversation that's gonna make a lot of black women uncomfortable. At least those of you that's involved in this lifestyle. What in the world makes y'all think these black boys benefit from this type of treatment? Give me an example of how this is going to enhance them and make them better men. Go ahead and break it down. Break it down, let us all understand. Coming out here, and shout out to it looks like everybody know what's going on. You got some lunatic, abusive, crazy wig wearing Keisha trying to humiliate her son. They always trying to humiliate you, always trying to embarrass you, always trying to disrespect you in public. It needs to be your mothers. That's why a lot of these black men, when they leave their mothers' homes, they don't tolerate it from other women. Yeah, there's like zero tolerance after that. And you know that if she's beating on her son like this, she'll beat on her boyfriends she'll attack her boyfriends like this. And everybody they acting like they understand. This ain't no surprise to nobody. And the way they have no problem with punching their sons dead in the face, attacking them the same way a man would attack another man on the street. Notice how they will never say that she crossed the line. No matter what she does, they'll never say, oh, that was a little too far. Now let's hear from this negress. Let's hear her speak for a minute. And I want you look at the behavior of CBS Mornings also. This is deep.
They're calling you hero mom. Do you feel like a hero mom?
They're calling her hero mom. Y'all remember that, don't you? This crazy batshit, mentally sick pal, wig wearing buffalo, hailed as a hero.
Him and struck him multiple times, and video of the moment spread quickly on TV and social media. More than 2 million people viewed her response to the attention on our Facebook page. The hashtag Mom of the Year began trending on Twitter, and today, Toya Graham, a single mom of 6
of the year. You see how everybody, the whole society, got on board with that? And you can tell this boy's been dealing with this his whole life. None of these types of women just start to beat on their sons at this old, ripe age. Let's not play dumb. She probably started beating on him as early as 5 years old, if not earlier. And we all know that they do. Why have we ever accepted that? For 5-year-old black boys, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, to be beaten on. The same way a man would beat on another man. To be beaten on, period. I don't care how you try to fashion the way you beat them. You lunatics.
And today, Toya Graham, a single mom of 6, joins us only on CBS This Morning. Good morning to you, Miss Toya Graham.
Good morning. Good morning.
Here's the front page of the paper this morning. It says, forget the National Guard, send in the moms. They're calling you hero mom. Do you feel like a hero mom this morning?
I don't.
Because what was your intention?
My intention was just to get my son and have him be safe. And at that point, I knew.
Yes. Listen to her trying to sound sophisticated. You heard her in the video. You a hood rat. I told you, they can switch it on in a minute, man. They can turn on their Valley Girl, their white girl voice, what they call their white girl voice. They turn their white girl voice on in a minute. It's not a problem.
At that point, I knew that was that whole thing was not safe. It wasn't safe at all.
Let's go back to that morning because you had told him, do not go down to the protests.
Yes. He told me the night before that, everybody was supposed to meet up at Mondawmin Mall. And I said to him, Michael, go to school. Don't go to Mondawmin.
But you knew?
But, me and my oldest daughter, I had a doctor's appointment. And we started getting phone calls that they was letting schools out.
I don't care if he did disobey you. I don't care. You don't do that. You don't attack him like that. Heifer? Ain't that what y'all call each other? You goofy heifer? What's wrong with you? And I don't trust these women, these goofy women who be covering one eyeball. Who want to walk out in the world with one of their eyeballs covered. That's all kinds of goofy. It looked goofy, and it really is a sign of insecurity, where they want to cover half their face. They want only half their face to be peeking out, looking all goofy. Yeah, and that insecurity fuels your mental illness.
Go to school. Don't go to Mondawmin.
But you knew?
But, me and my oldest daughter, I had a doctor's appointment. And we started getting phone calls that they was letting the schools out early, that they were shutting down Mondawmin. And she was like, Mom, we have to go.
Wow.
You have to leave the doctors off. We have to go. And so to get there and see the mass of polices and the helicopters and...
Polices? Just umbrella eyelashes. Little Becky wig. She got Ling Ling's actual hair, and she wanted to put some Becky accents. Probably some, yeah, I see your insecurity. I see your inferiority complex further fueling your mental illness, your violence, your rage. You're mentally unhealthy and abusive. Now listen to this woman struggle to make a point, to formulate a coherent thought.
And she was like, Mom, we have to go.
Wow.
You have to leave the doctors off. We have to go. And so to get there and see the mass of polices and the helicopters and, I actually ran over to the police and I said, where are the children that have to take this bus route here?
But tell us when you first saw your son, Toya. Take us there.
She had to stop her from babbling. You're going to have to guide this interview, ladies and gentlemen. You got Big Keisha over here with dysfunctional brain cells. She tweaking. Huh?
So after speaking with the police officer and he pointed across the street from Mondawmin Mall, I stood there on the same side as the police with the shields, and they were throwing bricks. And I was like in the awe, like it was like, oh my God. And to see my son come across the street with a rock in his hand, I think at that point I just lost it.
So you saw some people throwing bricks and saw your son with a rock in his hand. Huh? You telling me you couldn't have talked to him, seeing that he wasn't throwing nothing? You don't think your presence alone would have changed his mind? Did you even try to use your presence to deter him? Did you even try to make him understand why you didn't want him to go? I bet you didn't. I bet you never made sense out of why you were telling him to not go. I bet you never did. I bet you never made sense out of nothing that was going on in the world. And he was trying to make sense of it himself. Or he was just being a degenerate. That wouldn't surprise me either. Seeing that he was raised by you, you probably have destroyed him. But you see, he had enough sense. He walked away. I don't think he's too far gone, else he would have knocked you on your behind.
You recognize the baggy sweatpants.
I recognize the baggy sweatpants. He did have the hoodie on and he did have the face mask on, but it was something about those sweatpants he had on.
And you also made eye contact.
And we made eye contact.
And
What's remarkable is this, and for me, is he clearly had respect and fear of you.
Yes.
Because as you were pushing him and doing that sort of right hook you had, he was back.
Oh, yeah. Hit him with a right hook, a left hook. Yeah, I did, Daddy. Now, again, had a black father come out there giving his daughter left and right hooks, bopping her across the face, you think they'd be acting like this? You think they would respond to it like this? What in the world makes y'all think it's appropriate to abuse black boys? Make us understand that. Because I know if there's a healthy number of black women who listen, there's several of you who raise your sons like that, with abuse. And it's never only physical, it's always also verbal. There's always the name calling, the insults, and it's just aimless. They never, ever attach it to any type of constructive or intelligent teaching, nothing. It's just one the mother beating, and that's it. With a culture like that, how in the world, what, you got some nerve wagging your finger at any type of dysfunction you think black men have. When you examine, you know, this recent culture of single mothers, this brand new phenomenon, you find a lot of dysfunction. Right? When you look at the collectively, the ways this generation of single mothers raised their sons, you don't think that's a popular or common narrative of the stories of you being beaten? Are you kidding? We all got plenty of stories. I told y'all about some of my stories are with my cousins, not with me, but with my cousins. My auntie used to wait till my cousins were taking a dump on the toilet, burst in the bathroom with a belt, and beat them then. Probably had all kinds of objects. Of course, we all had switches. The switch culture. And that, don't tell me y'all not familiar with this. Go get your own switch. Huh? How many of you had to go get your own switch? Wasn't that cultural? That was cultural. I'm telling you. the abuse slash beatings of black males, black boys, is normalized. And it's normalized in society in general. And nobody thinks anything of it. When they start to try to criticize black, and I'm surprised, again, that black men are not more violent than they are. It's truly amazing. Because you have this generation where you have this cultural abuse of black boys primarily. They abuse their daughters too, but it's not as severe. Definitely not as severe. And not all of them physically discipline their daughters like that. You have a culture of abusing the boys on top of a drill rap culture, gangster culture. That's more motivation. They sitting up rapping about, oh yeah, blow the nigga brains out, yeah, all over the wall, and all these goofy songs, goofball songs. That's more motivation. It's like y'all got all this motivation, yet still being outdone by a wide margin by non-black American people. Okay, so don't come with the lecture. Don't come with the lecture. Y'all's probably gearing up. Yeah, black Americans, you're so violent. Yeah, but at least we examine and object to our lower class. Okay, we're always holding the worst of our community up to scrutiny. You really don't see other people doing that. So I don't want to hear nothing. Nobody, nowhere in the world is in a position to give us no moral lecture. Shut your mouths. But I want black women to think about this. Think about this. Mothers hold an important role in society, especially when you are single mothers. If you raise dysfunctional boys into dysfunctional men, and can you even call them men? We need to put more respect on that title too. You have to take responsibility for some of that dysfunction. If you're the only parent, some of that dysfunction is your fault. How much do you accept is the question. Most of them don't accept any. They figure, oh, you got your own choice. I'm telling you, they batshit crazy, man. All they do is they expect to just feed you, put clothes on your back, put roof over your head, and you just figure life out on your own.
Off. I mean, what was he saying to you?
Mom, okay, mom, you know, and I was pretty much just telling him, you know, how dare you do this? If he...
Did you hear that? I didn't hear that. She ain't say that. Y'all know that she didn't say that. Now she up here lying. Say her...
I actually went to view Freddie Gray's funeral, body, and
just ignorant. She's sitting up here trying to act like some type of distinguished mother.
He wanted to do that, I would allow him to. You know, even if he wanted to stay home from school to go to the funeral, I would allow him to do that. But for him to do what he was doing, it was just unacceptable.
He ain't do nothing. Look at her. He had a rock in his hand. He hadn't gone savage yet. Who went savage first? You or him? Who started acting crazy first? You or him? According to you, he was just standing there with a rock in his hand. And you went berserk. Talking about it wasn't safe out there. It wasn't safe because of you. He probably would have sustained less damage had you not been out there. I highly doubt he would have been hit as many times as he was had you not been there. The abuse came from you.
You said, I thought so poignantly, you did not want to lose your son to the streets.
No. And I fight with
And
this.
that really makes me sick. Now they're about to pretend like they care. And maybe they do a little bit, seeing that, you know, it does come from but when you hate yourself, how can you really love your kids? Because it looks to me like these women, these types of women, they're acting out their self-hatred when they abuse their sons like this. Because they know, they sense that that is the ultimate source of their ugliness. That's how they look at it. This is where I got this nappy hair, these Negro features. It ultimately originate from this little nappy-headed Negro. That's one of their favorite nicknames. Boy, that'll have them beating on you even longer. You be in that room getting beat for an hour or more.
Not just because of this incident, I find myself shielding my son on a lot of different incidents where these young kids are out here shooting each other, and a lot of his friends have been killed, you know, and so my thing is, I just
Other of his friends beaten to death by their crazy mothers. Y'all out here, y'all beat the hell out of y'all sons more than anybody. And that them rat communities, them low-income section house rows, those are like science experiments. Y'all be beating the hell out of y'all sons like mad up in there more than anybody else. And then you keep producing a lot of dysfunction. And you still can't figure it out. So what's your solution? More beatings? Huh? You think that'll get them in line? Yeah, but just beat them some more. They become more oh, you must need some more beatings. That's how they operate. Just like brainless little minions of slave masters. You know, a slave master, you act up, he just bring the whip out, whip you. And now that's how they raise their kids. And that's how the master wanted them to raise their kids. You tell them little Negroes to do what I say. And if they don't, beat them. Because I'm going to beat them. Don't do what I say, I beat you. Same thing with black women. Well, at least back then, you do what I say, I beat you. I don't have to explain it. I don't have to explain nothing. Even if it don't make no sense, I don't explain nothing. And that's how they raised it. That's how they govern. That's their whole pedagogical approach. And it make them feel so good. That's their little workout. They burn more calories beating their sons than they do doing anything else.
want to keep him in the house, and I know that's not going to, you know, he's going to get out. He's going to.
That's not really going to work. But the way that you were striking
Look,
down,
she can't even speak. They gotta babysit you all throughout this interview. This is sick. You know what this is basically? They're dealing with a dysfunctional community. And they saw on camera a part of what makes these boys dysfunctional, being abused, and they applaud it. Everything that people say, people always, are being critical of black on black crime, gang violence, the worst in Black America. But then when they see a contributor to that very same dysfunction they talk about all the time, what do? They applaud it. Now you go into this Keisha's home, she probably got Lil Wayne playing. You applaud that too. Just like the rest of society. They applaud the nigga killing nigga music, right? blow a nigga brains out music. Everybody approve of that. Like I said, you go to these concerts, it's mostly white people a lot of times. Just like inside the homes, the whole society celebrates everything that is against black men. And isn't it ironic how they love prisoners too? They done hauled all kinds of black men into prison. And that's for a lot of them, that's their favorite type of man. Fresh out the prison. I can say that my sisters have, well, women in my family have dated prisoners. Prisoners. Straight up and down prisoners. I don't know what that fascination is all about. But this abuse of black boys is abuse. I would never call it discipline. Y'all are out of y'all flipping mind. No boys of no race should be done. You don't have to deal with boys like this. If you teach them properly as you're raising them, which should start at the earliest possible age. You should talk to your sons their entire life as soon as they come out the womb. Talk to them like you got some sense, with respectfully. No insults. See, they insult. Their idea, of course, they're not going to say, yeah, I need to respect my son. I'm the mother. The mother is not supposed to respect her son. What are you talking about? You can be a mother respectfully. You can give a command. Do this, do that. It doesn't have to be do this, nigga. Do that with your dumb ass. See, they think being an authoritative figure has to involve degrading and insulting and being disrespectful. That's why this, single black, strong black woman phenomenon, it always involves a whole bunch of insults and disrespect. And, this is just another one of those areas of, I will say, Black American female culture that they have not addressed and that they don't talk about. You visit their channels, you don't hear them talking about stuff like this. You don't hear them talking about none of these things that we bring up. This economic black hole that they've created for themselves, is the insecurity, their inferiority complex and insecurity will be studied long after they've left this earth. It should be studied now. There is no excuse for not grooming yourself the same way all other men and women of the earth do. Period. Nothing else to talk about. Beat it. There is no excuse for any group of women to not groom themselves the exact same way that all other men and women of all races do. You understand that? Black men, white women, Mexican men, Indian women, Asian women, we all groom ourselves the same way. The only one that has to put themselves together, detach, reattach, burn, frizzle, and do all this crazy acrobatic stuff in the bathroom is the group of women who have disproportionate statistics when it comes to marriage and a whole bunch of things, all negative. That's the crazy part. It would be one thing if black women faced this much adversity because, you know, they don't control who they're born as. They didn't decide to be born as a black female. None of us make a choice to be born what we are. It's all about how you respond to the culture that you're born into. So it would be one thing if they faced all these adversities, yet you found them in their spaces talking about it like, hey, this is a problem. We got to change this. We got to start showing respect to our men. We got to change the way we raise our boys. Okay? We got to make improvements on all of this. You know, or else we're not going to make it. You don't hear them talking about this kind of stuff. That's the crazy part. It's almost like people falling or something or drowning and they don't know it. They just having fun, dying and drowning and falling. Like, okay. They complain about being single, but you never hear them talking seriously about the things that keeps them single. It's like, what in the world? It's almost like they're not even functioning like normal organisms. That's the scary part. And I ain't even trying to be petty, like I'm not. It's like they've crossed the path where they can even correct themselves anymore. Almost like a body that's contracted a virus and the immune system just won't work to fight it off. The immune system just grab a bowl of popcorn and just looking. Like, all right, I see you getting sick and all that, but I'll be there in a minute. Somebody said IHD, you're wrong. Said daily teens, white Asians, and rich so-called capitalists, we want all now every week. I can't even make out what you're saying. You say all now every week unalive each other. Yeah. The verse. Okay, what is this? Be positive. The stuff you're writing in the chat room is not really making sense. I'm going to read something you wrote. You said the verse often associates with ears tickled is 2 Timothy. This passage describes a time when people will not tolerate sound doctrine and instead seek out teachers who will cater to their own desires, having itching ears and turning away from the earth. We all want to have ears and our ears tickled. IHD, you are wrong. Daily. Teens, white, Asian, and rich, so-called happiest country on earth, all now every week unalive each other. What are you talking? I'm gonna have to put you in timeout so you can gather your thought. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm gonna land my plane there.